So we just do the whole thing standing. So Devin and I are standing up right now, just to give you a read of the room. It's pouring rain. Can you hear that?
They probably can. I can hear it in my cans.
It.
As they say in the biz.
That's what they say in the biz.
But Tim, what podcast are we on?
The podcast about the biz and the people who say things in it.
Oh, Gameography?
Oh, Gameography. That's what you're talking about.
With Devin and Tim? Also, I don't think we've said what our names are in the last 2 episodes, but that's fine.
Wow. Does anyone
People
listening...
are fans by now, so.
Honestly, you don't need to know our names to be fans. We're the guys from GOG.
We're the Goggers.
On it, literally,
And
yeah.
now, since you're listening to this, you're a Gogger too.
Honestly, our names are Gogger 1 and Gogger 2. That's literally as far as you need to know. Get out of my business. What do you need to know my name for? I'm the other guy who gogs. That's all you could possibly need to know about me, other than the fact that I played Majora's Mask as a kid. Something I've told you 30 times today.
On the GameCube, right? Did you actually play it on the NES forever, or just on the GameCube?
Wow, let's really get into it. Right off the bat,
I'm asking the tough questions.
These are the tough cues, and this actually came up before I'm remembering, because I had a babysitter when I was very young, like second grade, first grade, kindergarten, and they had Majora's Mask gold cartridge on the N64, and I went over to their house and I was enamored by this game. And I remember asking this guy, this babysitter, so many times, like, how do I get the Zora mask? He'd be like, you have to get the horse. And I'd be like, I can't get the horse. And he never explained to me that you had to do the game in order.
Wait, what? But you hadn't even gotten like the Goron mask or anything?
No.
Okay,
I didn't.
You just wanted to be Zora Link.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
sense.
that was always so cool to me, the idea of being Zora Link.
Yeah, I mean, he does look cool.
Absolutely.
He's got his little weird green skirt on.
Yeah.
Very short.
I've always loved a little green skirt on an elf man. Yeah.
Fish elf man.
Fish elf. Zelda, these games in particular, really, it's just like high fantasy. It says vanilla in a certain sense, high fantasy as like Lord of the Rings. But
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Goron and the Zora are...
Well, that was the but that I was about to say.
Oh,
is that it's like, instead of doing dwarves and elves, they came up with their entirely own races that are kind of similar, where it's like, it's literally dwarves and elves, but they're so cool.
But they're fish people.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it's kind of fits the archetype of elves and whatever.
Yeah.
But they're so cool. And that's why these games are so good.
I think, that's it.
The
Not
Gorons and the
else.
Zorons. The Gorgons and the Zorgons. That's what makes this game so good.
Yeah, I mean...
We are still standing up, by the way.
And are we into it? Has the music played?
No.
Okay. Well...
Maybe, I don't know. Is it going to play?
We're just not going to play it this episode.
No music this episode. Just us talking.
Music died this episode.
The day the god died.
I wanted to like this game as a kid more than I did because it was so cool to get to be the Goron and the Zora and stuff.
Yeah. You're telling me?
The farthest I ever got as probably when I was a teenager or whatever, was getting the Zora mask.
Wow.
But then I never did anything in that area because I could never figure it out.
Wow.
And also I think I just would lose interest by that point. It's okay, I got the Zora mask, so what else do I need? I knew there was no other masks, really.
There's nothing left to entice you in this game.
Yeah. It's because I never went to the valley, Ikana Valley. I had no idea that was even really there.
Yeah.
This time playing through, I was like, oh, there's a fourth area. I wonder what it is.
Yeah, I mean, even having beat the whole game before, when I was playing through this, I was like, what does that temple look like? What does that area look like? I had no memory of it.
Though it is a very iconic looking.
Yeah, it's very distinct.
temple.
It's memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once I did it, it definitely came back to me.
The big face and
and just the stone tower with the falling boulders is very cool looking.
Yeah, not fun to play, but
not at all. But nice to look at.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I can. Like, it's not that hard, but just like as a kid, like if you do the things in the wrong order, because you have to like place the statues in the right order to move the blocks, and it's like if you do it wrong, you just have to do it all over again, I assume.
Yeah. But actually, I feel like at a certain, like I was using a walkthrough at that point, that was earlier this morning. But it's like, at a certain point, I realized like you do just have to see which one comes to the closest to you. It's actually
not that hard, but
it's just annoying.
I think, especially, I mean, even for me, this time going through it, I was like, I don't understand what's going on here until I'd gotten through the first one, and then I was like, okay, the next one was not hard, but it is just like, what do you want me to do here?
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
Okay, let's get into it. I think we've talked about the gameplay and our and just like our hang-ups with it enough.
And honestly, this is what I've been envisioning this podcast being, is this episode where the weirdness of it all, and like the feelings and the themes and the fact that it's better than Ocarina of Time.
Okay, Tim, you start us off, because I have a whole like thing to go through, but I don't want to overshadow your thoughts, because I know you have thoughts on this game.
Order in the court. Order in the court. Today we will be hearing and observing and judging the trial of Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
I don't think we need to do
and
that.
Majora's Mask. Order in the court. Today we will decide.
I just want to hear your theory and thoughts on this game.
Listen. I'm gonna give you some theories and thoughts, or whatever you just said. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that's what this episode is.
Tell me about Weezer.
This is Magic.
I know that's part of your
Oot. What? Weezer?
Yeah.
Who's that? Is that a Zoran? Wait, actually, what does Weezer have to do with anything?
You told me you pitched an episode of Ocarina of Time versus Majora's Mask as you were like, I have this whole thing on it about how Ocarina of Time is the Blue Album and Majora's Mask is Pinkerton.
I have close to no memory of that. I don't know what that... Okay. Actually, no, I take it back. I know exactly what I was saying. Okay, and there's two parts to this. One, okay, this really isn't going to be very meaningful to anyone who doesn't like Weezer and know these two albums.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for those who don't
popular
know,
albums.
Blue Album and Pinkerton are the first two albums of American rock band Weezer, and they're very famously divisive in that people tend...
Rivas.
What'd you just say?
Led by Rivas.
Weezer. But it's like, often people fall into two very distinct camps. Are they Blue Album Weezer fans or Pinkerton Weezer fans? I'm a Pinkerton Weezer fan. I imagine you would classify yourself as such as well. Is that true?
Yes.
In front of God and the jury, you'll say that?
Yes. I'm holding my hand up.
He literally is.
And a Bible appeared in it.
And here's the thing: is a Blue Album is very conventional. It is a rock album. It is this band's first rock album.
It's a pop album, like
a pop rock album. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, before this, there was no Weezer. After it, there is Weezer, and that is very remarkable in and of itself, whether or not Pinkerton's a better album. Mm-hmm. Pinkerton is weirder, less refined, and darker and more mysterious, and in general, more of a like out of left field than Blue Album. Mm-hmm. And so in certain senses, it's kind of worse, and it is like intrinsically a response to the Blue Album, where what makes it weird is that it's this poppy rock band has gone like grunge, right?
Yeah.
That's what Majora's Mask is. Ocarina of Time, like you famously said, freshman year of college, we watched Star Wars, and you said, yeah, the second one might be better, but before the first one, there was no Star Wars, and then there was Star Wars. There was no 3D Zelda, and then Ocarina of Time. And they did a smashing job. They did a smash up job. What's that phrase?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
It's like, to quote Plato, it is kind of the platonic ideal in certain senses of a 3D Zelda game. Where
so you agree with me? My case is made.
But that being said, I mean, here's another example. The Before trilogy by Richard Linklater, Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, Before Midnight. Before Sunset is a perfect, amazing movie that has no meaning outside of the first one. The first one isn't as like miraculously good as the second one, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion.
Yeah.
But you can't really say that the second one is better than the first out in isolation, you know? And in the same way, Majora's Mask, a lot of its meaning and ideas come from the first game, but it's better, I think, in a lot of ways.
I don't think your argument stands up because you played.
That's probably true. I admit that.
You played Majora's Mask without playing Ocarina of Time as a kid.
Yeah.
And you loved, you didn't need that.
Yeah, I guess that's
context.
true.
I think.
Okay, good. Thanks for making me win. So it's a perfect game. That was my
I
only
think in
reason.
that sense, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't think it needs. I think a lot of its impact does come from the fact that it is like such a left turn from Zelda. But I think also just even without Zelda, like it's a left turn in just video games. I think, like even to this day, like there's not a lot of stuff that has been similar or like is the same kind of left turn that this was.
Yeah. And especially, like coming in this era when like we had really just figured out what 3D games look and feel like, and suddenly there's a 3-day clock that resets the world, and everyone is in a specific place at a specific time, and it's annoying as hell at certain moments, but ultimately it is so original and interesting, and literally is unparalleled in how unique it is outside of games that are directly copying it, like Outer Wilds, like we talked about. On top of this, I had to work so hard to will myself to play Ocarina of Time. I love that game for so many reasons. Obviously, it's a masterpiece. I find so many parts of the game so fucking boring, it's impossible for me to play it. I literally may never beat that game again. Honestly.
It's funny because I feel the exact same way about Majora's Mask. Like, I'm really glad I played it, but I truly never want to play it again because like literally like exactly 50% of it is like stuff I like legitimately did not like doing.
And there's a lot of annoying parts of that game. I think that neither of these are perfect.
With Ocarina of Time, I feel that there is like the most annoying stuff you can usually just not do, and also like I just like doing all of the like the main stuff. Like it all just feels like good. To me.
There's a lot of good, but I mean, in Ocarina of Time, it's like you do these 3 kid dungeons. It's fun. It's cool. You become an adult. Things are crazy. That I think that this is maybe a comment on all of Zelda. I feel like one of my favorite parts of every Zelda game is that they tend to have these moments in them and these feelings where it's like so catastrophically climactic in a very understated way. One of these being when you become an adult and the town is in ruins. Yeah. Something it's like you're playing as Kid Link. You'd never think that could happen. Yeah. There's a specific moment that's in black and white in Wind Waker that I don't want to say to you, but people out there listening will know. That I was thinking of that. I don't know what I was saying.
Is there a moment like that in Majora's Mask? I mean, is it just
I think you could say it's full of them.
Like the beginning?
Yeah, like that whole beginning sequence.
I can't think of anything necessarily like later in the game.
Yeah.
It's like...
honestly,
It really like sets its like... That is a good point, because I feel like another part of the Zelda, at least Miyamoto, like the ones Miyamoto was more involved in, I feel like typically do have like a turn partway through, like the same way that A Link to the Past did, where it's very similar to Ocarina of Time, where it's like partway through the game you just get sent to the dark world, and it's like you have no idea that that's coming.
That's honestly that's literally what it is. It's like in Link to the Past you get sent to the dark world, and that has just stayed with the game the entire time.
Right.
You know?
But there's nothing like Majora's Mask like tells you like, okay, there's these 4 things. Yeah. And then it really is just those 4 things.
That's true. Like, I think maybe you could the case could be made for Majora's Mask that one, you fall down this thing and become a Deku. That's kind of in itself one of these moments. That's bonkers. Yes. And then
but that's like so early, like you would know that.
Yeah. There really you're right. There really isn't a dark world moment in this game, but I think the closest approximation would be when the moon is crashing and the world is ending, and you go back in time, and you realize that the whole game is a repeating 3-day loop.
Yeah, I think that's
bonkers enough for me.
Yeah, but that is still like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's definitely it's really on, and therefore does not have nearly the same impact as like the zombie town.
Okay, I listen. I don't think we're going to get to a place where we agree.
Of course not. No,
but
because ultimately, here's one more thing about the Weezer. My final point about the Weezer, because it's twofold in this comparison.
Yes.
The second part is that I think 90% of people who are on either camp, they listened and fell in love with one of the albums before the other. I played Majora's Mask as a kid, and you played Ocarina of Time as a kid. Primarily, we both kind of fiddled with the other one, but and it's maybe it's just like a type of like personality or like preference where it's just like we both played them, and even as a kid, Ocarina of Time bored me so bad, and Majora's Mask like I could never stop thinking about, and clearly it's similar for you. I think it's almost just like one of them hits you really hard as a kid, and that's the one you care about.
Yeah, it's like the thing is I don't like that is really weird to me. Not the Weezer one, but the Zelda one, because it's like, I mean, Majora's Mask, like the stuff that I didn't like this time, it wasn't some of it was like I did think boring, but like that the extended quest that we talked about in previous episode.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just like I just don't like doing it.
Yeah.
It's not that it's boring.
Yeah.
It's like it's just like frustrating. Like
yeah.
When you, in the Goron part, you have to like take a bottle of hot spring water and bring it to like a certain place.
Yeah.
And the hot spring water can like cool, and then it doesn't have you have to go back.
Yeah.
And it's like a 5 to 10 minute ordeal because you have to climb up this thing, like this huge thing, just
in a very annoying climbing, tricked out thing, where it has like the false roots.
It's tricked out. It's blinged
you
out,
know
baby.
What I'm trying to say.
I feel like the game is just full of stuff like that, where it's like, this could have like, the fun is not in doing it. Like for Zelda, like the fun should not be. Or like, the game should not be about like the challenge of doing this task. It should be like thinking about like, okay, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go?
Yeah.
And Miyamoto even talked about that with Ocarina of Time, where when they made Epona the horse, he was like, and jumping and stuff. Like, because you just auto jump in Zelda. He was like, the game is not about like hard actions that like you can like mess up. It's
interesting.
Like that stuff, that stuff should all be like pretty easy to like pull off. And like riding a horse, like you can't really mess it up.
Yeah.
Like you just hit A to go faster. And I feel like, there's a lot of stuff like that. And then obviously like even stuff you talked about with like the Goron mask and stuff like it, like a lot of that stuff is a lot harder to actually like do.
Yeah.
And I feel like that stuff for me is what like holds it back. But I want to get to, because you said we had to talk about Termina in a previous episode. I want to get to like what your thoughts are on like what is going on.
Okay.
Just
real quick. I actually had a response to what you just said.
Okay. Yes.
I think that I might kind of see what part of the differences in these games fundamentally is that it's like when you think about Ocarina of Time in particular, it's almost like if you can think of the scale of like how much of the game is happening in theory and how much is happening physically in the game, where it's like an early Bethesda game. It'd be cool if someone did a podcast about that. Like early Elder Scrolls is like very much like almost a tabletop role play game where there's like no tactile fun to it, right? Or like very little.
I can't necessarily speak to this.
Yeah, neither of us have played that. But think just like it's like tabletop games. There's like no tactile
Well, it's
fun.
it's what Aonuma was talking about, where he talked about I like how you liked text adventure games. And he was not good at like playing like the more tactile like Zelda.
But I guess there's just something where it's like in Ocarina of Time, there's more of the kind of puzzles, and the puzzles are better, and the like overarching story and like trying to figure things out is better.
I mean, what we talked about
in Majora's Mask as a kid, what drew me to it was the tactile fun of being a Deku scrub. And then later, like rolling around as a Goron, all these like very platformy things that are not as refined, but like add more fun.
Is that okay?
So maybe that's actually part of it because our profiles as like game players, don't want to say gamers,
as
your Steam account, you have that Europe game, you have like 10,000 hours logged into it. And that's the one where it's like Civilization, right? It's like Civ 5 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
we
a
don't
map.
need to get into it. Yes,
it's like a map, and you're controlling armies. That's a game you can spend 500 hours playing.
Yeah,
and I would rather spend 500 hours playing like Mario 64.
Yeah.
You
well,
know?
and we talked about it in the Ocarina of Time episode, but that a big difference and between our tastes and these games is a lot more of Ocarina of Time is just in the dungeons.
Yeah.
And a lot more of Majora's Mask is outside of the dungeons.
Yeah, 100%.
Like there's just a bunch of like weird random stuff.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even talk about the aliens side quest. Did you do that?
Yeah, you have to, yeah.
Do you have
for the horse?
I don't think you have to do that for the horse.
Yeah, that's how you get the horse.
I think
you're right. You're right.
No,
Yeah, you just get the song.
Yeah, you just learn the song.
Oh my god!
I think you get a bottle or something. You get something.
You get something kind of crucial.
You get the like lawn like the cow mask to get into the bar.
That's it.
I mean, you don't need it, but
yeah, it's nice to have.
For other quests,
get some Chateau Romani. Some vintage milk. Get you tipsy off that milk.
Get your bar blue. You know what I'm saying?
God, I literally was playing. I was like, I need to talk to Devin, but there's just aliens in this game, and it's in a flash. It's there and gone, and no one addresses that there's aliens in the world of Zelda. Apparently,
it's really weird because I feel like it's at that time when I don't know why. I don't know what culturally was going on, but it was just like aliens and like aliens abducting cows and stuff was like in the cultural imagination. Because like I think about like that was like a big thing in like South Park in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like nobody talks about anything like that anymore. But
that was X-Files. I mean, I
feel
like
X-Files. But yeah, exactly. Like all of that stuff was just like
that's so funny.
It's really weird.
Yeah. We can talk about Terminal.
A lot of weird stuff like that.
Let's talk about Terminal.
Yeah. So please tell me what is your game theory?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I have a lot of resentment towards like game theory videos for the very fact that I hate when people talk about stories like this as if there's an answer, like there's a key to it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's because
it's interpretation.
We've watched so much David Lynch that it's just like, yeah, sometimes things just don't have answers. And I find it really obnoxious when people try. But I feel like it does feel like
what's obnoxious is because I don't think there's anything wrong with trying. What's obnoxious is when they're like, this is the real answer.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like we can it's fun to play around and like think about it. But it's like there is no answer to any of this. It just is.
Yeah.
That being said, I have the answer. It's Alice in Wonderland. It's all a dream. No, but I mean,
I feel like the most famous theory is Link is dead.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like
no,
that we talked about.
He's not
dead.
Yeah,
I don't think. I mean, that's fine. I mean, there's really not that much of a difference between that and it's a dream.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the end, it's like, what's really the difference?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. But what I was thinking early on, I kind of forgot until now, is in the Ocarina of Time episode, you talked a lot about how that's a game about childhood and about adulthood wanting to go back to childhood. And then at the end, you kind of mentioned that like Majora's Mask is like when you transition into adulthood and it's like, yeah, things are scary out here. And I feel like that's actually, to me, the thing that makes the most sense, where it's like, I don't know what's literally happening. I think maybe he goes into an alternate world or something, or it is literally like a spell cast on him or a dream or something like that. But I think the ultimate thing is that it's like, it's like a commentary on what growing up is like, where it's like you have this very cozy, safe, neat world like Hyrule, where it's like there's a castle and you get saved and there's good guys and bad guys, and then you go in here and it's like, yeah, like everything is different than what you thought it was. You're gonna run into this. You're gonna run into people that look this exactly the same as other people, but act completely differently. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
So I too view it from the dream angle, and let's go back to
Okay. Devin's pulling up his laptop. He has a real game theory.
let's go back to Aonuma because
Oh boy. Why'd you even let me say it if you have the answer?
there's no answer. No, this is just an interesting
Yeah.
from the interview. I mean, this is evidence somewhat that I think dreams are like, I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious that like, dream like thinking is a good way or is an interesting way to think about the game. But this is what Aonuma said as they were working on it. So they had been is towards the end, like they were coming up on the 1 year mark. And Miyamoto said like we should like extend it. Like we're not gonna make it basically. And he was like so invested in like getting it finished and like he was like in getting it finished on time and stuff. He was like, no, we can't do that. And he yelled at Miyamoto, he said, and he was like, I can't, like retrospectively, like he said, I can't believe I like yelled at my boss like that.
Also, is it just me or am I picturing it like, no, we can't do that? And he's like, why did I yell at Miyamoto? Like that's what I picture. Like these like
it's like he turns to the camera and does that. And so it's he said this next, but it's unclear if this happened at the like around the same time or not. But he said he had a dream about the game, and in the dream he was being chased by a Deku, and he said he was thinking about like an event in the game that happened with the Deku and was trying to figure out what to do with it. And then he says, I woke up screaming. I went to work the next day,
from the mask.
And that's when the cinematics director, Kawagoe-san, told me that he had finished making a movie for the Dekus. And so I had him show it to me, and the movie was exactly like my dream.
That's amazing. And that is also horrifying.
Mm-hmm. This is an example of, so I've been reading, so like writings from Carl Jung, the psychologist.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And like he is known for like having worked with like Freud and stuff, and then he like kind of split off in his own direction because he didn't agree that everything was like related to like sexual drives and stuff.
Because Jung was kind of like a real psychologist. Like.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't realize he came up with so many things that we like still use today.
Yeah.
He came up with introverted and extroverted.
Oh wow!
Personality types.
He also, I mean, he literally came up with the Myers-Briggs test, or not the test, but like
really?
that. It was like he
came up with personality types.
Yeah, and he like that's like so directly based on his writings on the cognitive functions or something.
Yeah, but he also came up with something I know you're familiar with, synchronicity.
Wait, what?
He came up with the idea of synchronicity,
like just of like things happening, like
that, like something like that you are that like psychically is happening can be manifested like physically in the world.
Oh,
but there's no like causal relationship to it. And like that, like this is an example of that. Definitely,
that's funny.
Where it's like he had a dream about it, and then like it literally was in the game, but he didn't know it.
Yeah. I didn't know that was the specific definition of synchronicity, and that it was even defined that.
Yeah, because
concretely.
Because he also came up with like the idea of the, like the universal unconsciousness or whatever. That might not be what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where it's like there's a shared unconsciousness where it's like he looked at like myths and stuff from like around the world and stuff, and like there was like reoccurring stuff like from different parts of the world that would obviously have no way of like talking to each other, but like they would have like very similar myths that like had the same message and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, there's something in all of our unconscious that has these archetypes.
Yeah.
And that's like synchronicity comes from that, of like the archetypes are like manifesting somehow in the real world.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. But
what is this book you're reading?
It's just like it's called like The Essential Young. It's just a bunch of writings of him.
Wow, that's really cool.
I
want to read that.
But so I I feel like this is something that happens just when people like read like his writings and stuff, that they start like seeing it in places in like real life. But obviously, like it's so in Majora's Mask, it's insane because so here's my analysis. And as compared to Ocarina of Time, I feel like Ocarina of Time is like an extroverted story of Link, where it's like
Oh, okay,
it's like it's like saving the kingdom. It's like very like all about action and stuff.
Yeah,
But Majora's Mask is like the introverted.
yeah.
It's like going into Link's psyche because
Yeah.
so the game starts with him searching for his friend, for Navi, and then he runs into like, Skull Kid, and Skull Kid is like Link's shadow, which is another idea he has,
yeah.
like in your unconsciousness.
Wow, yeah.
Because
It's a lot of young, yeah.
like it's like the symbolism is like right there, because Link is like the normal kid. Skull Kid is like,
Yeah.
he has like darkness in him.
Yeah.
And he has the dark fairy, and Link has the light fairy.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very distinct. Wow.
And then you like get sucked down in that world, which is like, it's whatever. Again, this is just like my theory, but it's like, it's like the whole game is like working out Link's like psychological like problems, basically.
Yeah.
And the moon is like obviously like a shadow version of like the sun or whatever. So it's like a representation of like if the sun is like a representation for like rebirth and stuff, like the moon is like the pressure to like, what did I write? Like it's like the pressure to like change, basically, because like if you don't, then you're like gonna be screwed. Like like that's like how, at least how he talks about, like, that him and Freud were obviously like kind of started in the field of just like examining like schizophrenics and that kind of stuff, like people who were like really abnormal psychologically, and that his thought was like, when that stuff is coming out, it's like the unconscious trying to like, it's like it has gotten so out of whack with your like conscious side of yourself that it's like taking control or like trying to push you in a certain direction that like you can't go consciously or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what's happening. And then there's like like you were saying, how it's kind of about like Link growing up, that in Ocarina of Time, what Navi says about Skull Kid is that like is this what happens to kids who wander in the forest? It looks like he doesn't like grown-ups. So it's like, and Skull Kid is like, as you learn about him through the cutscenes and stuff, it's like he's just like this lucky, like, what's the phrase? Happy-go-lucky. Like he's just like going around like playing tricks on everybody.
Yeah.
Like he's like not. He's just like a kid.
Yeah.
Just like being a trickster and like kind of like a bad kid, basically, like doing graffiti and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's not like a bad person. But then Link, on the other hand, is like he just like helps people and like is like trying to restore order into everything.
Yeah.
And then obviously like the Majora's Mask kind of like unleashes that on like a wider scale of like just like causing chaos. Yeah. That's where everywhere you go. Yeah. So there's like a bunch of other like parallels and stuff. He talks about how like 4 or specifically 3 and 1 is like a archetypically like significant number.
What is it?
3 and 1 to make a whole, like to make a unity.
Oh, okay.
He talks about a bunch of examples, but like the cross in
interesting,
in like Christianity, and also like the Trinity, like the Holy Trinity. There's like the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and then they as one to make God. And like I feel like that's everywhere in this game, because there's like the 3 main masks, and then like in your items select, there's like the 3 together, and then there's the one below that for the like the
first deity.
Yeah. you could also like see it as like the Majora Mask or whatever,
Yeah.
as like the fourth one.
Yeah.
There's like the 4 different temples.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like other like crazy stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah.
So then in the end, Link like obviously faces Skull Kid and Majora's Mask and like defeats it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like him like defeating, like overcoming his like shadow and stuff. And
But he doesn't destroy his shadow. He ends up, the shadow becomes his friend.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
He reunites with it,
Yeah.
which is like
exactly. Yeah.
which is like what Young was like trying to get his patients to do.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
like not like fight your unconscious, but like like become like whole essentially.
Yeah,
like, become
and I
a whole
mean-
person.
I mean, that's almost like what you were saying about the futility of like his altruism throughout this game. He's going around like just like constantly trying to help everybody, but everyone is poisoned because he is not in like alignment
Yeah.
with his shadow.
He has to help himself first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I took the like the ending as so Skull Kid, it turns out, is like not like the villain, right? He's
Oh, yeah.
and he was actually friends with the giants, and
Oh yeah.
they like it's like they don't like, because when you save the last giant, he says like save our friend or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like doesn't explain what that means, and then
Oh,
you find
wow.
out that he's like, oh, they didn't forget about me. And so that brings it back to what the beginning of the game, which is Link looking for Navi, his friend,
Yeah.
and the mask salesman is like friends, like you might like have to say goodbye, but that doesn't mean like you're never gonna meet them again. And so like Navi hasn't forgotten you, Link. That's what he learns. Like, even though she's gone.
Oh my gosh.
And then like it ends with him like seemingly continue to like going through the forest, but then there's like the carving with all of them together, and it's like he's made whole.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So I feel like in this like sense, I do think Majora's Mask is like a more impressive game than Ocarina of Time. But that's why I'm glad I played it, but I don't want to play it again. Because it was like,
Yeah.
okay, that stuff is all really cool, but also it's like there's a lot of stuff in the middle that doesn't really
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. That being said, though, your analysis of Ocarina was also, I think,
Yeah.
as moving as that one was. Devin, this is the best part of this podcast, I think. When you do this,
Yeah.
you need to start doing this for every episode. Do this for like Star Fox.
I need the material. There's nothing there for Star Fox. You can't make a game theory with like Borderline no game. That's what I'll say. Star owned. I also had found on the Japanese Majora's Mask 3D, like 3DS
Okay, yeah.
site, they have a page, and I don't know if there's a similar one for like the English one. I didn't check, but there's a page where it's like fans have like written in
Oh.
like their memories of the game,
Oh,
like
wow.
comments, and I just like I read some of them, but like one of them was like there's a lot of them about like oh, I watched like my dad play or like stuff like that.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
just like really like sweet. But this person said the day before Majora's Mask was released, they were so excited that they made a real Majora's Mask and like wore it around their house.
Oh my god.
And their parents were just like, go to bed. I just thought that was great.
That's so funny.
There's just like a bunch of stories like that of just like
wow. They didn't
people
understand.
so excited and like so moved by this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
and you know, maybe the real like the real thing, and I was honestly thinking this a lot through a lot of the game, even though it is my favorite, where it's like I think that the movie or cinematic or story aspect of this game might be stronger while the gameplay suffers compared to Ocarina. And that's,
if you're going to play this game, definitely play the 3DS version, I think. Like, if you have the option.
Yeah, you didn't play that one, right? You
No, I played it 64.
Yeah.
I'm pure, baby. But, like...
I only run it on pure emulated hardware.
But, like, I feel like they fixed so many things. And we didn't even talk about this, but I think the boss battles in this game are so bad.
Yeah,
like
I absolutely will agree with you.
They're just so boring and like.
I actually really like the second one. I find that's the worst. Very fun. I find it very
just
like
roll
climactic. Yeah.
That's all you do.
It's cool. Yeah, but they're all, especially like, there's a few in Ocarina that are, a little lackluster, but it's like most of them have some clever conceit, whereas these
often
almost
just don't.
Yeah,
like
almost universally have no.
You just like attack them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know they changed all of them for the 3DS version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he even he was like, yeah, these bosses all seemed bad to me, so I was like, we need to change all these.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
So yeah, and I know that they changed a lot of other stuff and made it like just probably a lot less necessary to have like a walkthrough for certain things because I think they added a lot of stuff to make it more clear, like what time things are happening and stuff like that.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I think actually I remember the Bomber's Notebook being a little more comprehensive in the 3DS version, whereas in this it's almost entirely useless.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's one of the things they talk about, and like they had the Bomber kids give you hints in the 3D.
Oh, that's nice too.
3DS version if you talk to them, because in this game they literally they only say what they would have said to you in like the first time going through this the time cycle.
And actually, I think I remember this too, that in both the 3DS remakes of Oot and Madge, they have like a weird little cave you crawl into that gives you hints of what you need to do next.
What? A weird little cave?
Gosh, I wish I could remember exactly what it is, but I think it's literally like a portal you crawl into.
That's so weird.
I don't know if I'm misremembering that. It's been a few years, but yeah, I think, and it's like you go in there and it's like, go to Akana Valley and use the hook shot. And it just tells you what to do.
Weird. That's crazy.
Which is literally just like a built-in walkthrough, which is exactly what it needs.
Yeah, but when you need it. Yeah,
exactly,
that is great. Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on your favorite game of all time?
Let me see.
There's also, I will say, just final nitpick. The time travel doesn't actually make sense. Did you run into this?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You for example, with the swamp area.
Yeah.
You can go get this learn the song from the monkey and tell him you're gonna go save the princess and stuff. You can then time travel.
Oh, that's
go
true.
to the temple, save it, and then they'll act like they know you.
That's true.
Because there's no way, there's no other way for the game to interpret that.
Yeah, it can't be like the monkey's like, "Who are you? Yeah. Why do you know my song?"
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a strong point.
Yeah.
To be fair though, every time travel ever done in fiction is incorrect for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I have just a few notes. I'll say, tell me what you think about these. I prefer fairies to golden skulltulas. Any thoughts on that?
Really? I mean, I think they're an interesting addition to dungeons, but it is a little I think they make the dungeons a lot more. They can make the dungeons a lot more frustrating, especially the later ones. I did not do the last.
Same, because it would have been impossible. It looked so difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard. It just takes forever, and then all you get is just a better sword.
Yeah, and it's not even really a sword. It's like
a giant
item. Yeah, it's like
you
don't even use it as your sword. You use it like you'd use a mask.
Yeah,
and so it's like. Yeah. Also, your sword's plenty good. I literally just feel like you're overpowered this whole game.
Yeah.
Because, and I know this is maybe why I found it so easy, is because you very early on can get the literally double your health defense upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Is that after the Goron one?
Yeah. That's
really?
you get for the Goron Temple.
Wow, yeah.
Which in Oot you get literally right before the final boss battle. Yeah. And this you get it halfway through the game.
Yeah. And you can get the best sword. At the same time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you literally get both of those, and then
play the rest of the game.
Also, interestingly, that's when I think the game gets a lot more boring. So that's probably related.
Yeah.
So it's a direct correlation.
Yeah.
I also said this is the best errand running sim ever made because
We haven't played Death Stranding for the pod yet.
Oh, that's
though.
true. Yeah, that's true. Coming up soon, someday.
2 or 3 years.
I do, yeah, because like literally the feeling of like I gotta go into town. I'm gonna stop at the bomb place first. I gotta go to the ATM, get some rupees. It literally is like running errands.
Yeah.
Both,
So you agree Ocarina of Time is better?
but it's fun. Errands can be
You
fun.
literally said the mask like trading part is the worst part of Ocarina of Time, and that's
You said that.
no, you said that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like running errands in this game because you can be a Deku.
Okay. Yep. Go on.
My bomber code was 25413, and that's. Oh, I also wrote Skull Kid is way more compelling than Ganondorf, and more scary. Because
Yeah.
it's because like I mean like none of this that you're saying about Skull Kid could be said about Ganondorf. I feel like he's just like an angry dad, or a scary strange man.
Yeah.
And then he turns into a dragon monster, whatever.
Yeah. I think you could say he's like a symbol of like the like bad adult.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But yes.
yeah,
No, I agree.
And so I mean, there probably
I think
is something
yes,
behind,
Skull
but-
Kid is more interesting. I wish he was in it more.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
he's there at the beginning and he's
you
like really cool.
Yeah, you don't really see
And
him
then he
though.
disappears for 90% of the game.
That's actually true. Yeah, you constantly hear about things he's done, but it's like,
yeah. Which I guess is cool.
it probably adds to why he's so cool though, because you see him in the beginning, and then occasionally, like those little.
And you can go up
cutscenes.
like
Yeah.
anytime you want
Yeah,
and try and fight him.
and if you, I mean, towards the end of the game, this morning actually, I did all of the property deeds to get a full heart piece, and which it wasn't fun to do, but it is. I think it's a really fun concept. Even though it's impossibly tedious if you do it the way you're kind of supposed to.
That's a classic Zelda thing that started with Link's Awakening.
Oh,
There's
really?
a whole, and that you have to do. It's like the mask trading sequence kind of in Ocarina of Time as well, but that you actually have to do to beat the game.
Oh,
There's like-
is it where you end up getting the picture of Princess Peach?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's not the end of it, but yes, that's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and like you get the Yoshi doll.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing.
Oh, that's so funny. That's a
Yeah.
Zelda thing.
And that just like became a thing that they put in every Zelda game.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I have one more thing I'll say. I want to hear your thoughts on this because this is a conversation Andy and I had this morning while playing it. And you're the only one out of the three of us who literally could have anything real to say about this. Andy was saying that he likes Ocarina of Time more because Majora's Mask is just too Japanese for him, he says. And I was talking about how the last few days or the last like week or two, I've watched Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle just for because I needed comfort, honestly. And one, just like, my God, those are two of the best movies ever made. But then I feel like I've always felt this way. And especially watching them and playing this game at the same time, I feel like Majora's Mask has a feeling, and then also a lot of very specific plot things that are so Studio Ghibli, like, Miyazaki type things. And I wonder,
Like what plot things?
well, like the transformation, I feel like is something.
Yeah.
Where like him getting turned into a
Yeah.
Deku scrub is like literally the same as both those movies, basically.
Yeah.
Parents get turned into pigs. She gets turned into an old lady. It's like, that's clearly something.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, Spirited Away and Majora's Mask are essentially the same in that it's like, I guess, in
It's
Spirited
like
Away.
going into like a crazy fairy
And in
land.
Spirited Away, they say specifically you're in the spirit thing. It's like the spirits are occupying this area.
Yeah.
Whereas in Majora's Mask, like we're saying,
It's
it doesn't
more
really
like-
explain it.
Yeah, it's
but
more
I think it's the same thing where it's like you can either believe that Spirited Away is very literally that, or it's just surreal and it's like this is an abstract understanding of maybe just a girl growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say the same about Majora's Mask, but I just feel like there's a similar feel. Do you feel like there's something essentially Japanese about what I'm talking about, or is this
about Majora's Mask or any of that?
Majora's Mask in particular, and then also what I'm saying in general?
I mean, I don't think so. I think the way that you it probably in episode 1 maybe like described Majora's Mask as being like Alice in Wonderland
Yeah.
is like a good indication that it's not.
Like, yeah.
That's I don't think like the like going into a strange land is like a Japanese.
Yeah, that's obviously going back to Young. That's like clearly a shared unconscious thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
don't you feel it in the vibe of the game? Even there's something distinctly because there's a feeling that this game evokes in me that
but I feel
literally
that,
could only get from this and Miyazaki movies.
So weird. I feel that Ocarina of Time is very Japanese.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I think they both are in different ways, but I think like Ocarina of Time is very Japanese in its like reverence of nature.
Oh, interesting.
And like, like the giant like forest,
yeah,
like the tree like is like a spirit, and like you have these spirits around you and stuff.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the game is somewhat similar, I mean pretty similar to Majora's Mask, is like you're trying to like cure nature in a way.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to clear the swamp and like fix the ocean temperatures and like in the Goron place it's like
the ice.
Not supposed to be winter, I guess. I don't like.
It's supposed to be a little chilly, but mostly not.
It's supposed to be some snow in one little section, but not the rest of it.
Yeah.
That doesn't really follow with like the valley, but
I guess
fine.
What is the name of the Japanese religion? I'm blanking on the name of it.
Shinto.
I was gonna say Hinto.
Yeah,
because that's like basically
give me a Hinto. Throw me a bone here, Navi.
Because I feel like all that stuff and a lot of the stuff in Miyazaki movies, you can watch video essays about this. They're out there, or come from like Shinto ideas.
I think the character design and stuff also is like very Japanese. Like the like I don't know, just like the mailman guy and stuff. For some reason, him in particular seems like very Japanese.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, also like the post office box are like Japanese post office.
Oh,
box.
really? Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily like say it's like that Japanese. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, but, like more so than like other Japanese games. I don't know.
Yeah. Listen, anyone out there listening, if you agree or disagree with what me and Andy said this morning about a culture we know little to nothing about, let us know on Twitter at gameographypod.com at gameographypod and then also gameographypod.com.
Yeah.
Did we say that already this episode?
No, we didn't.
I don't think we did. So there you go. Let us know.
That has been our 5-episode Zelda spectacular.
My God, yeah. And I want to say
we originally thought it was going to be 2 episodes.
Literally, we were going to do 1 episode for each of these games, and I want to set the scene here. It's about 7:00. Devin got here at 1. We
closer to 2.
Closer to 2.
It was like 1:50 or.
Oh yeah, that's true because I wasn't done with the game. We didn't even talk about how it froze, and I had to not play the very end of it. But all 3 of these Majora Mask episodes we did in a row. We've been podcasting for 3 straight hours.
For you.
And then also this whole podcast we've been standing up.
Mm-hmm.
We're still we kind of forgot, I think. I forgot. Yeah, we should just do this from now on. I feel like I was way more like present because of it.
Yeah. I feel like you were. I feel like I was the thing.
Yeah, you're whatever. You're done.
I mean, yes. The only reason listen, maybe in the future we will, but it's a little hard with the computer for me to look at my notes.
I wish you could all see how Devin is just holding a laptop.
I'm holding a full desktop in my hands.
He's that much of a PC gamer.
Yeah, I bring my whole tower over. Oversized. I don't.
Oh no. But yeah, Devin has to go because his wife is at home, trapped
in the dark.
In the dark, the power's out.
Experiencing a Majora's Mask like moment of her own.
And Devin, he's so
We've
dedicated.
We've been haunted by a
dog.
spirit in this 3-episode series. A lot has happened. It's been storming outside.
Literally, yeah.
Is this a synchronicity?
No way of knowing.
No way of knowing. All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.